Okay, we should be live. What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Let's see. How's everything looking? Okay. All right, OBS looks good. First in the house today. Wait, was it actually staying? I could have sworn it might have been somebody else. No, it was Anthony Lewis, which I just had the message up. What up? There we go. What up, Anthony? We got Stanks on 7 in the house. Arnold Albert, hello, hello. Dispatcher Gaming, Grayman Media, what up? KL130. Yes, B650 is AM5. It is. In decline, what's up? We gotta play a super chat message from Grayman Media that I mistakenly, I don't know how I missed it last week, but I think I was in the middle of a thought or talking about something, and then I went on and rambled for too long, so I totally missed the super chat notification and everything. But we'll read it today, and I think unfortunately it might be too late, but I still want to read it because I think Hire bought the stuff that he was asking about. In Decline says, I'm here early, just watched the Gamers Nexus GPU black market video. Good stuff. I started watching that. I had it in the background, but I don't know, it is really hard to sit down and like intentionally watch a 3-hour video and pay attention to it. So I still need to finish that, but I saw like tidbits of it so far. But 3 hours? That's crazy. What up, Jake Dog? Hello, hello. The AMD 9600 Ryzen 5 9600X is still selling for $198 at Newegg. This is wild. What was the Prime? I'm sad I didn't buy some during the Prime Day deals. I totally should have. I think they were like going $160 for 9600 non-X's, right? That's what they were going for. But I guess since that's over, under 200 for 9600X is still not a bad price. Yes, thank you for the reminder. Hit the like button. Do I even have a like button thing on here? Let me see. No, that's not it. Oh, why do I not have it shown? There we go. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff. I am trying something new this stream. So I turned on the automated ads thing. I put it on balance mode. I'm testing something because I'm curious. So I've been running up to this point my streams pretty much ad free, where like you have to manually say like, oh, when you want to take an ad break, but I never press the ad button, right? But I'm curious if YouTube, if I turn on the ads and it automatically is inserted, if YouTube will push my stream more, because they'll make more money if I'm running ads, right? I'll make more money for sure, but because I have to split ad money with YouTube, I'm curious if that'll help me in terms of the algorithm or ranking for the streams anyways, because while I get, you know, decent algorithm hits for my videos and stuff, for the streams, it's pretty much like growth has been pretty stagnated. We've been sitting at about the same number of people attending the streams. So I'm trying to find ways of growing the stream more. I mean, I talk about it in videos and things like that, but I don't know what else I can do to grow the stream. And no, I do not want to go to Twitch. Elma Layman says, me still using the B550. Yo, AM4 is still popping, okay? I guess what's happening right now is similar to them killing off B350 motherboards eventually, and then only having like, you know, B450s and B550s. So it's just initially the hit, if it's the case that B850s are kind of expensive, then this is kind of a bad thing for at least the budget market. But we'll get into that in a bit. What's up, Hazard Me? Guys, please don't hate me. Ordered a Gamers Nexus Black Market GPU shirt. Why would anyone hate you? I don't think there. I don't think there's any like Gamers Nexus haters, particularly in this chat or community. There's nothing wrong with buying merch from whatever creator you support. I I mean I've bought Gamers Nexus merch. Well, at least their mod mat that's considered merch. Yeah, nothing wrong with supporting creators that especially with that 3-hour video that they said that was like self-funded, right? Like I don't think they ran a sponsor spot on it. I think in the video they specifically said this was funded by the viewers and supporters and merch. So yeah, that takes a lot of work, time, and effort. So the guy got paid somehow. Wonder how much the B650 would be selling by the end of October. I mean, I don't mind it dying if B850 pricing can basically be the same. But if they're like 30-40 bucks more, and B850 is not that much better. Like, we'll take a look at it in a second. But yeah, I just don't want them to take something away that has value in terms of being able to push builds to lower prices. Hazard Me says, if I was going to upgrade to AM5, I would not get a B650 anyway. I would go as new as possible. I would still use B650s, and I'll explain and show you why. It has to come down to feature set and price. Honestly, I'm not looking forward to October for prices on a lot. Wait, specifically, is that what the new tariff stuff is? Let's see, October. Wait. October tariffs. Trump 2.0 tariff tracker. Extended a pause on the planned tariff until November. So why isn't we talking about October right now? Trump tends to use tariffs to derail global climate. What? The news that we were looking last week about potential tariffs, that wasn't October, was it? Consumers will bear 6% tariff by October. What's happening in October, guys? 2 people mentioned October so far. Reciprocal tariff rates. Let me see. What up, Tech Blacksmith? What up, HDZ77? Nope, how good is your Vietnamese? Are you Vietnamese, Akuma? We went to Vietnam and I was able to speak Vietnamese there and get around and stuff. It's kind of broken. I'd be the equivalent of a fob over in Vietnam, where like I could say things and people can kind of somewhat understand me, but it's very broken. And I could order stuff at a restaurant. I could ask for kind of directions. I definitely can't watch the news because they use way more complicated and big words and like news and stuff like that. And even like TV shows and movies. Yeah, I can have like very entry level conversation with it. Code Uni. Whoa. Why did your... Hey dude, hi dude, I have a question. Your thing was highlighted in yellow. How did you get it to highlight in yellow in my stream chat? Interesting. Let me take a look at this again. That was weird. What does this mean for B650 users? It doesn't really mean anything. I mean, you're still going to get potentially more BIOS support if, new BIOS comes out. Maybe getting RMAs. You might be automatically upgraded to B850s if there's no more B650, so that's kind of a good thing. Free upgrade. But yeah, I don't think it means for current B650 users. I don't think it's necessarily a negative thing. Jensen says, yo, Danny, I go back to school tomorrow, bro. People, I guess it's already... We're approaching the end of August, so I've always every school district or every school I've gone to, and I'm thinking even in university, we've always gone back to school after Labor Day. So every time I hear about the people going back to school still in August, to me that's such a strange like idea. But go back to tomorrow, so I'm glad to be here for the night before I go back. Yeah, good luck going back to what grade are you in? But I always dreaded that, like the final week, the final day before going back to school after summer break. It's just brutal. I was not a person who enjoyed school. I did like fairly well in school, but I hated school. Grayman Media just got the MSI Mag A750 GL and PNY Accelerate gaming 32 gig of RAM with TechWear Flex RGB. TechWear Flex. You can look this up. TechWear Flex RGB cable covers. Are these like streamers? Cost me $225. So that's for the RAM, the power supply, but my middling PC will look good. Okay, let me see this. 44 bucks, TechWear Flex. Oh man, there's so many. Look at all these other ones. So look at all these other brands that have the, you know, who did it first? Lian Lee streamers, right? Yeah, so these are all like similar but more cost-effective, cost-efficient ways. Except I think it's because the Lian Li ones specifically have connectors on it, not just the RGB tubes, flexible tubes. Like you get the actual cable extension. These ones, they all look like, yeah, it's just the band that you put onto it. This one too. Oh wait, no, this one's 40 bucks and it actually has the connectors, but this one is just a cover. But I mean, I think for the right builds, these things can look pretty sweet. They're just a little pricey. Well, I guess 44 bucks, this is more reasonable. The Lian Li ones are like, depending on the version you get, they used to be like 80. I guess 73, but yeah, kind of pricey. This is like, you know, at least a 1 terabyte SSD, maybe a 2 terabyte in the used market, or like next bump up to the next SKU of CPU and potentially GPU if you're looking at the difference between like a 4060 or 5060 Ti 8 gig versus 16 gig. So yeah, all for the aesthetics. What up, Robert? Fix it. B550 with the 3060 is still my go-to build. Yeah, that's a great budget combo. Tyler Logston says, what's your opinion on those little packets of sea monkeys you drop into water and watch grow? I've never done those sea monkey kits. I mean, I've seen them, like South Park made an episode on them, right? But also I've seen them in like, you know, TV shows and cartoons and stuff. I have no idea. My opinions, no opinions. It's just interesting how you can get a packet of like what looks like dust that you pour into water, and it's like, you know, living organisms. Gamers Nexus is the MJF of the YouTube PC community. Who's MJF? Am I mixing this? Let's see. Maxwell Jacob Friedman is an American professional boxer. No, wrestler. Nope, that's probably not the person you're talking about. That's the only MJF I'm coming up with. When I type that into Google. Or Michael J. Fox. But okay, so this is Code's question. I'm currently upgrading from a B550 Ryzen 5 5600X 3060 12 gig to a 5070 Ti Ryzen 7800X2D, but I still didn't get myself a motherboard with good ReRAM for some overclocking. Can you recommend me? Off the top of my head, I can't give you a recommendation because I would have to look at references too. Go check out the hardware unboxed B650 or even B850 roundup. Honestly though, it depends on how much you have to spend, but so long as you're not getting like the most bottom of the barrel motherboard, right? So let's take a look at Amazon real quick. Like you can tell pretty quickly just by the price and looking at the board itself. Let's see, B650 motherboard. So long as you're not getting a this should be fine. This one should be fine. This should be fine. Like, I think don't quote me on this, but you can kind of easily tell what a pretty capable motherboard is gonna be, such as like the Tomahawk, right? Versus something that's a little bit more entry level, and you can even look at the price. This is like 110, and look at the heat sinks, as well as if you look at the, I guess the rear IO is not going to change that much, but if you just look at how much material there is on the board. Now, that's not to say there aren't crappy motherboards that have like gigantic big heat sinks and stuff. Actually, you can probably find criticism for any motherboard out there. For every motherboard that exists, even ones that are rated highly, you can type that motherboard in Reddit and have people complaining about there being issues with it or poor build quality. But in general, you can take a look at the heat sinks for the, like, I guess the cooling capabilities of VRMs, but also if you look at the connectors for the CPU, like, I don't want to say like, oh, if they have two 8-pins, then for sure it's going to be a better board because, you know, they designed it to deliver more power to it. But those are just some quick telltale signs to get you started in your research. And then you want to go watch the either roundup videos or look up, you know, people's experiences with overclocking, because it sounds like that's what you care about with it. But I would say if you're into just like moderate to mild overclocking, then I don't think you can really go wrong with basically the mid-range boards. But yeah, off the top of my head, I buy motherboards mostly based on price. The amount of money that you can spend more for a motherboard and the potential it will give you for overclocking, I don't think is worth the money. Like, you know, you've got these boards that go for like 150, 170 versus boards that are like 250, 300. Spending double on a motherboard is not going to get you the gains versus spending that money on a better CPU. But I guess you're getting a 7800 X3D and 5070 Ti. So you're in the ballpark where spending another $100 to $200 isn't necessarily going to give you that much gains. Though I'm not convinced overclocking will either. Overclocking your 7800 X3D isn't going to do too much unless you're playing like esports titles and pushing high frame rates, because the 5070 Ti should be bottlenecking in most of your situation. But yeah, motherboard wise, off the top of my head, just looking at the prices here. Let me see. Why are these two so different price? These are the same exact motherboards, aren't they? Oh, this is a renewed one. Also, recommendations, I would get Amazon renewed if you're in the States. Look at the price difference. You're saving $35 on a motherboard. I bought one of these renewed before and it came basically like brand new. So that's my advice for you. But if you want to specifically look into like the, you know, the capacitors used, power phases and stuff like that, definitely pull up the hardware unboxed roundup videos. Those are probably the best for, you know, a quick summary of everything. I wonder if AliExpress will stop production as well on Chinese motherboards. That's a good question. I didn't even think about that, because you can still find like motherboards for old chipsets on AliExpress. So as long as they continue it, though, AliExpress, man, they don't bring their best when it comes to like the motherboards, at least from the other kind of like more global brands. Oh, come on, stop. Let's see, B650 motherboard. They like, AliExpress motherboards, they skimp out quite a bit. Like, look at this thing. Oh, okay, that probably blew up your ears. Can I not expand this? Or make? Okay, here we go. First of all, this looks like a rendered image. But I mean, no USB-C front header. I mean, it's got, I guess, a decent VRM heatsink there. None on the top though. If you're getting one of these boards, let me see, and let me look at the rear I/O actually. Yeah, look at the rear I/O. So there's like no USB-C support on this, and this is a B650M motherboard from AliExpress. So, and it's $81. That's not the best price for missing so many features. Let me look at a more expensive one, a Jinyu one. This one might actually have something in. Nope, no USB-C at all. Cool. Yeah. So regarding AliExpress motherboards, yeah, I'm okay with older AliExpress motherboards because USB like C did not exist for those platforms. But to me, USB-C is pretty important. Actually, do you guys find it important to be able to transfer data on and off of your computer onto like your phone or onto an external drive quickly? Because USB-C is kind of slow. Okay, let me get caught up. What up, Tanmay? Let me play, because I said I was going to, the... Thank you again last week, Grayman Media, and I apologize for not getting to it. Just got the Aorus Elite. I'm just going to read it, even though I think you said you already bought the what you needed. Let me pull this activity feed out real quick. Just got the Aorus Elite AX motherboard and Fractal USB-C Mod E. Now I just need to get GPU, RAM, and PSU, which you bought the RAM and PSU. Looking to get RAM and PSU next. Any ideas? But then, as you said earlier, you already bought those. So you're still looking for a GPU though? Or did you end up deciding on that? You think a 5070 Ti is a worthwhile upgrade coming from a 3080? I plan on keeping it for the next 3 to 5 years. You have a 3080 right now. I say wait for the NVIDIA Super cards to drop. Which, do we have any more news on that? NVIDIA Super 50 series Super. We just got a super chat again. $5. Grayman Media. Thank you. Let me take a quick look at this news. 2 days ago, bundle available now. No, Super GPUs by Christmas. This is from Tech Power Up. No, it's 3 weeks ago. I think it's the same news. So it looks like the latest news is still potentially by the end of the year. So if you have a 3080, I would say wait. The 5070 Super or 5080 Super, I guess depending on what you're looking to spend, 5070 Ti's you can find for $750 pretty easily nowadays. I would take a look at what the 5070 Super comes in at and the performance relative to, because it's going to have more VRAM potentially. What was the rumor? So 5070 Ti is sitting at 16 gigs, right? And the Ti Super, right? It might. So you're looking at potentially 24 gigs or 18 gigs. So for the people who, if you care about VRAM, but just the performance in general, I would say you have a decent graphics card. You can wait. Just be patient. It might be worth it. Or if you wait, these might go down in price as well once the Supers drop. So yeah, just hang tight. Okay, Grayman Media with another $5 super chat dono. Should I future-proof my GPU and go with the RX 9060 16 gig 3 fan for $399? Also, with the Oracle 2TB E7400 for $116 or the 9699. Wait, the Samsung 990 Pro Is that one also 2 terabytes for 116? Let me see. So we got that one, and then you said Samsung 990 Pro. Is it 2 terabyte? The Samsung would be more expensive, right? I don't think a 2 terabyte Samsung 990 Pro. Yeah. And then this one's Oracle. I've actually never used an Oracle drive, but I'm not against. There's so many manufacturers and brands with different SSDs and RAM and stuff. SSDs and RAM, so long as the spec sheet looks good, I'm not super picky about if the price is right. Yeah, so this is a Gen 4 7400. I mean, the only thing I would look for is if you care about DRAM, which what is this thing? So it has HMB SLC. So I'm guessing this is a DRAM-less drive. Just based on the price. Come on, Amazon AI. I'm just pointing that out. I use DRAM-less drives like no problem. Like, I don't make a huge deal out of it because I've actually used it and have seen that it's not a big deal. I feel like anyone who makes a huge deal out of having DRAM on their already super fast NVMe drives that do have HMB, like, I don't know, have you guys ran the tests? It doesn't make that much of a difference in speed. And I think saving the, $35 is, to me, more important. But between these two drives, yeah, I would go with the Oracle or Team Group or whatever other brand you want. I think there's multiple brands that have 2 terabyte drives that are same specs, right? Like 7000 read-write sequential. PCIe Gen 4 for like a 120 or less. The only time I build with Samsung 990 Pros is when I build for people who specifically request it, or they drop off the parts to me and that's what they chose. But I'm not a huge, kind of premium brand SSD person. Can I recommend some good PC case fans? If you want to save money, I mean, you want the unit fan, so it looks like you want RGB. Let me see. I mean, the tried and true, if you aren't looking for RGB, are either the Arctic pressure or airflow fans, which are either the white fan blades or the black ones. Actually, I guess they make, which are, these are pressure optimized. They have airflow optimized ones too. Arctic are probably one of the most popular picks. Thermal Rights are pretty good too. But if you want, like, a lot of other companies are making similar looking fans to the Unifans, but they don't have that, like this one, I don't think they connect to each other the same way to get rid of like your cable management or to get rid of the excess clutter of cables. But I don't know. Why did you mention the Lee and Lee ones, or why did you want them to begin with? Because of the look, or because of the way that they clip together, or both? Off the top of my head, let me see what fans clip together. PC case fans clip together. Cause doesn't Thermaltake have similar ones? Oh, here's a G120. What is this? Some generic brand. Oh, do they actually clip together? Fan installation. Easy cable management. Oh yeah, it looks like they do connect to each other. Yep, there you go. So here's a cheaper version. I've never used this one. It looks like so far people are liking it. Wait, what is this technology called? How did this not come up with it? Span. Okay, I'll try daisy chain. Fantex has a pack of 3. Okay, let me see. Thermalright, daisy chain. Oh, look at these Thermalright ones. Look at this, $23. New modular control line. There we go. And then they all clip together, just like the Unifans. But what does the RGB on this one look like? That's an interesting design. So they got the infinite mirrors on the side, but then they got these dotted lines, which you may or may not like. But in terms of functionality, it's got a very similar. So it's got the one connector at the very end there, but in between, they connect like that. So nice. Yeah. I mean, and it's Thermalright. So when it comes to, you know, getting some of the cheapest fans out there that don't suck, I think it's hard to go wrong. No, it's about degradation. Samsung stuff will last at least 10 years. Well, is this based? What is this based on? Anecdotal evidence or? Okay, let me look at the 990 Pro. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to test this kind of stuff, right? Because how do you constantly test a product and then finally report the results and it not be outdated if, you know, it's something's supposed to last 5-10 years. So let's take a look at the numbers though. So the Oracle 2 terabyte. Unfortunately the best information we have is a spec sheet, and what the company claims is oh yeah, sure. What they claim is the read and write speed. Be right back. Thank you. Hello? Wait, where'd your mom go? Oh, she's in the bathroom? Okay. Mother-in-law brought boba. But yeah, let's take a look at these. Can I find the Oracle? I'm gonna have to go to the website. Okay, so Samsung 990 Pro. And yes, I do understand that QLC. Actually, what's the Samsung one though? Is it like TLC? Okay, rewrite speeds, capacity. Samsung did have the issues with their firmware. I don't think on this one, but on the previous ones, that caused them to die early. But okay, so we got that spec sheet. Let's see. Gen 4 2 terabyte SSD. Do they have their own? Okay, here we go. Oracle Tech. I think it's the same drive. I'm not too worried about drives dying 10 years from now because I mean, are you still using drives from 10 years ago? I would think hopefully not. The capacity of SSDs back then and like hard drives and stuff, right? Let's see. So, so what is this one? What is the capacity, interface, weight, storage, memory? Oh, this is MLC. MLC is 2, right? Okay. Versus quad, which is 4 bits per cell. Okay, so let's see what the rated life is. So it should be way higher if it's MLC. I was thinking I wasn't even really aware they still made MLC drives. All right, 5-year limited warranty and 1200 terabyte write. Okay. So that's what the kind of like endurance is, and what is this one's rated? So this is MTBF is okay, 1.5 million hours. Endurance of 2400 versus 1200. See, okay, we can't even go off this information because Oracle seems to be either padding their numbers or Samsung is being pretty conservative. So okay. Let me see. Oh wait, no. Let me go to the 2 TB. Is that still? It's still the same. No, that's 4 TB model. Okay. This is the issue. So there's no way to test this. The companies can just put whatever numbers, and you kind of just have to look at the technology in it. So yeah, MLC versus Q. Wait, and then this one is QLC, right? Let me make sure. Oh, here's the terabyte write hours. So the 2 TB one. So this makes sense that this is double because you when you write to it, you have that much more space, so you can write twice as much for the same. So it's 1200 versus 1200, and what's this warranties that they give you? All I'm saying is, I'm not convinced that a Samsung drive is going to last that much longer than any of these other more budget brands. Given the same cell level technology, but I do agree MLC should last longer. So this is very odd. Samsung is pretty cheeky as they call it MLC, but it's TLC since it's 3 layers. I mean, is it? Let me look at the... I thought it was a pretty industry standard term that MLC was 2 layer and TLC was 3 layer. Let me see. 990 Pro uses 3-bit TLC. Okay. Yep, who here is going to write 1 TB on their SSD 1.25K times in their lifetime? There's other things that you have to consider too, like the controller on it as well. But also, there's not like a ton of information with regards to longevity of that out there. Because again, when you're talking about these things that are supposed to last you like 5-10 years, how can anyone test that? And by the time you're done testing it, that tech is old. So that's just to say, if you have the money to spend, feel free to go get the Samsung drive. But I think probably plenty of people... Okay, here we go. We can ask a poll. We need to do a poll. And then we'll get to the motherboard stuff. I did not mean to go on about this for this long. But people are asking good questions in chat tonight, so... So what was that, like 1.7? Or how much was the Samsung one? Oh, 150. Which would you buy? Yeah, I would go with the Oracle. What are Team Group 2 TB looking like? Okay. This is their super budget stuff. 105. 103. A little bit slower rated read write. These are 5,000, but again, even me as a content creator who transfers a bunch of stuff, I don't really mind. I think these speeds are still plenty fast. I'm curious for you guys out there, what are the like your main SSD or whatever? What are the read write speeds on them? Because if you're still using SSDs from like 5-6 years ago, the read write speeds are probably way slower than this, right? That was back when it was probably closer to 2,000-3,000 was like the average or normal. But nowadays, even the budget ones have faster read write, and of course, sequential read write doesn't mean everything. It dramatically slows down once you fill up that cache, but still. the peace of mind is nice, but in everyday use, it most likely would never matter. And I think so. I do have to give the disclaimer that the way that I think about computer parts, and I try to like separate being like, you know, like a content creator or like a quote unquote enthusiast or power user or someone who tinkers around with computers a lot. For me, I guess when a product fails or dies, it's less of a big deal because replacing it isn't that hard in terms of like me knowing how to and just having spare parts on hand. But it's not like I used plenty of cheap drives in the past, and I'm trying to think. I don't think I've actually ever had one die. Or I've also used not cheap, let's just say more budget-oriented drives in builds that I built for family and friends. And those drives have, like, never died. I can't say never, but they basically never die. I'm trying to think. Off the top of my head, I cannot remember a specific instance where one of my friends or family or someone I built a PC for was like, hey, the SSD you put in there, you know, it's been years and it eventually gave out. No. So I guess the way that I think about it is like, I don't necessarily think cheaper or more inexpensive products are just gonna die, and if they do, it's not the end of the world. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like buying a warranty, right? You could spend more money to get that warranty to give you that peace of mind, but once you exhaust the warranty and you get to the end of life of the product, if nothing had happened, then you just essentially spent more on something that you might not have needed to. So think of the Samsung drive is like buying the Oracle drive with a, you know, $35 warranty package slapped on top of it, because that's what the price difference is. Performance aside. I have no problem using Kingston, Keen Group, or PNY. I'm just not familiar with that company. Okay, so let's take a look at Oracle SSD review. Let's see. Usually Tom's has Oracle. Storage review. So when it comes to storage, I typically like to look up like the oldest review that exists to see how long the company's been around. So like Tech Power Up, if we type in Oracle SSD, 11 months ago, like, is there anything from like 2, 3, 4 years ago? Because I agree with you. I put Oracle in the poll, but I probably should have put budget SSD, because instead of the Oracle, you could also go with a Team Group or Kingston or PNY, just like Born Joker said. Though, again, if the price was right, I would be totally okay with going with the Oracle. Team Group stuff around $120 would be my choice. Wait. Is Stang Murder Stang 2007's alt? Or is this a different person? The M.2 will be the boot drive. Looking for Team Group. Looking at the Team Group. Okay. What is this one? Wait. How did you just go from looking at 2 terabyte drives to now looking at a 4 terabyte drive for almost $200? Wait. Oh no. Will be the boot drive. Then you're looking for at this one for. Okay. Got it. Level 1 storage drive. So you're gonna go with a SATA drive. Interesting. I'm trying to think. What's a 4 terabyte NVMe drive looking like? Is there any particular reason you want to go with a SATA drive? There's nothing wrong with SATA drives, especially, yeah, you're gonna just use it for like extra storage and stuff. It looks like it is cheaper. One of the arguments that was made for, you know, SATA versus NVMe is that the price is so close that you should just hop up. But I'm not seeing anything even below $200. Yeah, everything is at least $200. So it's at least a $20 difference, if not more. if you're looking at, you know, depending on the brand you're looking at. But is it just for price savings? In Decline says, shoot, I even use TimeTech SATA SSDs for people who are super duper stingy. I think TimeTech is fine. If you look into the history of TimeTech and like the reviews for their drives, there's nothing wrong with them. They just sound like a cheap Chinese brand, but I wouldn't have issues with using a TimeTech drive either. Even you mean SK Hynix, the not sponsor of this stream, as I wear their hoodie all the time. Patrick McGovern says, I've been using the same bot drive. I know what you're trying to say, though. I'm just kidding. Boot drive in my main build since 2018. Still fast enough that I'm fine with it. Yeah, I think so long as you have an SSD, for most people, that's fast enough. Like, anytime I do a super cheap budget build and I throw a SATA SSD in it, I'm never like, oh my god, this feels slow. SATA SSDs for like, in terms of boot times, game load times and stuff, that's fine. Cheaper drives are great until the SLC cache runs out when they're filled past 70% capacity. I got a Crucial P3 that is killer on paper but turns KOC slush because of no DRAM. I'm trying to think if I have any. I need to redo DRAM versus DRAM lists, different tests side by side. Because I could have sworn I have run into issues transferring files with a DRAM drive that that also ran into speed and performance issues. You know, because when I do file transfers, I do large ones. I do like 500 gigabytes to terabytes at a time, right? We're talking like entire archives of either Steam games or of like YouTube of, you know, footage and stuff. So I've run into issues of the even DRAM drives eventually slowing down. No matter what, eventually, if you do a large enough file transfer, you can bring any drives to its knees and literally down to like, you know, single digit megabytes per second transfer. But I need to actually revisit that test. So thanks for bringing that up. But in general, you're right. DRAM does help curb that a lot longer than the DRAM-less drives. Grayman Media with another super chat. You don't have to keep donating for me to read this. I try to read as much chat as possible, but got an idea for next week's vid. Weigh the pros and cons of getting a 30-inch curved gaming monitor. I got 30-inch Crua for 140. How much per inch and hertz? The pros and cons. Wait, 30-inch. That's a interesting. That's not a common 16:9 dimension, is it? Isn't it usually 27, 32? And then it's not a common ultra wide either, because I'm trying to think. Ultra wide is like 29, 34 are the common inches. So, you mean for next week's stream? The pros and cons of that? We can probably talk about that tonight. Just remind me, because we got to get to the motherboards. Yeah, host memory bus does help. I don't think it's functionally the same, but it does help. And having the SLC cache and all those things, it does help. But yeah, I really need to redo an SSD test for a video, because I need to cement it in my own head, the pros and cons versus paying more versus less for the more premium drives versus the budget stuff. Okay. Let's get to the motherboard discussion, because we're already almost an hour into stream and somehow we have gotten way off task. Okay, so a lot of media outlets started reporting today that AMD B650 reaches its end as AMD shifts focus to B850. We've seen it, we're seeing it on like Tech Power Up, Tweaktown, eTechnics. So let's take a read at this article real quick. AMD has reportedly ended production and supply of its widely used B650 chipset, notifying motherboard manufacturers that they can no longer place new orders and advising transition to the newer B850 family as mainstream AM5 solution. Vendors are doing structured sell-offs of existing B650 inventory, and industry briefings indicate most clearance plans should be completed by October. So like a month and a week, depending on when in October, to 2 months. Although distribution and retail stocks are likely to trickle through for months afterwards. B650 and B650E were introduced in 2022, so they are getting to be 3 years old as mid-range offerings, initially priced between $125 and $150. Which the crazy thing is, even after all that time, 3 years later, the boards are still going for about this price. I guess there are some cheap boards that are like $110, but still, before falling below $100 for some models. Yeah, the super cheap ones. Okay, so AMD's 800 series, including B850 and entry-level B840 boards. Honestly, B840, wait. This is a board chipset that has not been on my radar at all. What are these going for? B840, 180, 190, 160. Okay, so they're basically the same price as B850 and B650 boards. Okay, so, and if you guys didn't remember, B650 does not have PCIe Gen 5. You have to get the B650E for that. Okay, so let's get a quick reminder of the different chipsets and if this really matters or not, right? So if we look at the B650 and B650E, let me change this. So B650 has no Gen 5 support. If you get the B650E, you do get Gen 5 on your graphics card and processors, PCIe lanes, and your NVMe right here. And then if you look at that compared to the B850, the only difference is this column right here, the NVMe SSD and additional GPP lanes. You get 1 times 4 PCIe 5.0 versus this one. It says 5.0 optional. I'm not sure if I've seen any boards with PCIe 5.0 that was not marked an E board. But everything else is the same. And then the max usable PCIe 5 lanes is 4 instead of 0, right? So B850 is essentially just like a refreshed B650. So it's not, and for the NVMe, lanes, I don't know if I care about that. Because Gen 4, like, I wouldn't pay a premium for it. I'll take it for free. So my biggest concern is once the B650 boards are gone, what is the pricing of B850 that we're going to be left with for people who are trying to build on a budget? Because the motherboard is like one of the areas you can save money because, even using kind of crappy motherboards, as much as I hate to admit it, it still gets you like the same performance, right? Especially if you're using like mid-range to entry-level chips. So let's take a look at the pricing on that. My B850 got PCIe 5.0. Do you have a higher end one though? So let's say look at B5 850 boards. So, and this is just Amazon. Obviously, Newegg's gonna have slightly different prices too. So, 209, 174. Okay. See, 200, 200. So there are some boards like 180. This one's 130, but this is a very bare bones model. So, just taking a quick look between the two, and then B650. So these like 150, here's one for 135. Is this renewed? No. But this is again another entry level board, entry level one. This one's renewed for 144. So pricing wise, it's looking like about $20 price difference for some of the equivalent boards. 20, maybe 30 bucks. 20 to 30 bucks. Oh, Daniel. Wait, when have you just been here, Daniel? Hold up. I didn't mention it at the start of the stream yet, but I was waiting for Daniel to make it to the chat because we got a package to open. So hold the phone on the motherboard talk. We gotta open this before I forget because I am very forgetful. So Daniel was sent this package to my PO box, and he was kind enough to offer to craft something for not me, well, kind of for me, but for the girls who were upstairs, and maybe I can bring them down. But he crafted something for them, so I wanted to unbox it on stream because I'm very grateful to have viewers and supporters who do cool things like this. Oh, here's a knife. Okay, so we're gonna open this and take a look at what's inside. I'm not practicing safe cutting techniques here. I'm also using... Where did I even get this knife? This might have been sent in from a viewer many years ago. It doesn't have any markings on it, that's why. I have some knives with, like, that I've gotten for, as a gift and stuff that has, like, marking, but this is just a generic silver knife, so I think that's where it was from. Let's see. Okay. All right, here we go. And we got a note. Whoa. Dude, this is professional. Let me see if I'm gonna... I don't know if I'm gonna read this on chat. Oh, okay, this is... Is it cool if I read this, Daniel? Or do you want me just to read this in private? But also, look at this. Professionally... This is a... Oh, is this a food saver? It is. We have the exact same things. He shrunk wrapped this. Okay, so this is from Daniel Hulan, who's actually in the chat right now. Daniel wanted to include a note with these onesies. So these are onesies, but I wasn't sure what to say. One thing I do want to do is wish you and Melissa good luck and congratulations on starting your family. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for all the great content and videos you've released over the years and entertainment you've provided. Even more important, thank you for building the Nobe community and helping to foster a positive environment for people to come together and talk about our hobbies and experiences with technology. Good luck and God bless. Daniel Hulan. So Daniel, thank you very much. I'm going to keep this note. That was a very nice thing to say. And now we're going to open up these onesies that he handmade. Not handmade as in like... you'll see what I'm talking about. He didn't hand make the onesies. He ordered them, but he handmade the designs. So we've got onesies for the girls. So, oh my goodness. Look at this. So we've got the AMD Radeon in a red, like, baseball jersey style onesie with the Team Red on the back. So we got Team Red for one. Oh, we got two. Wait. There's multiple. Oh, there's four. So this is the baseball style one. And then we've got a white... Oh, man. These white ones are gonna... The amount of blowouts these girls have had and the amount of scrubbing I've had to do on onesies to get their poop out of it. It's too much. So, oh man, I'll try to keep these as clean as possible. But here's an all white style one. So we've got the Radeon Team Red as well with the non-baseball jersey, all white. And then we've got the GeForce RTX in green, Team Green onesie. Yeah, I know, Daniel. Good luck. I will try to keep these as clean as possible. It's just white and babies is it doesn't mix, but these look awesome. And then here is this one. Oh, there's two of them. Okay, and then we got, I think, yeah, they can start wearing these. So I will get these in the wash. Oh man, look at this one. The more you buy, the more you save. So yeah, I will get these in the wash, and then hopefully they can wear them on next week's stream. Did I miss any secret Easter egg messages on these? Okay, no. So that one has the more you buy, the more you save. And then one last one, which is just the plain white one. So this is awesome. So yeah, I will get them, one of them in the red one and one in the green one, and take some photos. And hopefully they can wear them next week if they're up and able to be on the stream. So yeah. No Team Blue. So again, Daniel, thank you very much. I appreciate that, the gesture. This is awesome. But yes, no team blue. Maybe if we get a third child. No, I don't know. I feel like in my mind, the graphics card battle is still between AMD and Nvidia. Probably because Intel doesn't really have a horse in the race above $250, or like above, you know, the kind of entry level price point. They don't have anything to compete with, you know, the equivalent of a 9060 XT or better. So I still don't see it as like Team Red versus Team Green versus Team Blue in terms of the graphics card. Founders Edition jerseys, yeah. I thought about including a Team Blue and saying just in case, you never know what the future holds. Yeah, no. Between you guys and me, and Melissa already knows this. I think I'm done. Like, I could not imagine having a third kid on top of already having these two girls. Like, yeah, I'm good with two kids. So, if it were up to me, we wouldn't go for a third, but that's still in the talks right now. Yeah, so that is the reason why the discussion has come up. If we wanted to go for a boy, but you know, some people I know some people in real life who had two of, you know, one gender, and then they're like, hey, I want to go for one more to get the other one, and then they ended up with three of the same. Like, so. Yeah, I think it's way too early right now to make the decision. The girls, they actually just turned 3 months yesterday. So, yeah, they're still like way too young, and we're still sleep deprived and too busy to even me to consider a third kid. 2 boys, 2 girls here. And also, what if we have another set of twins? I could not imagine having 4 kids. Yeah, you could get that's the thing. Unless you could like choose. Well, congratulations, Danny. I hope the best for you guys. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, dude, they're awesome. I'm gonna get them in the wash with the special, you know, clean soaps that Melissa has bought for the girls. And then I'll actually probably take pictures beforehand and I'll send them to you, but also have them wearing on whichever stream coming up next that they're awake for. Nice, my girl just turned 2 months yesterday. And how's that going, Stang? Hopefully you're still doing well. I know you're working and then just tired, coming home, taking care of kids. So 4 girls, 4 boys. That's my wife's family. My mother-in-law and father-in-law had 4 boys, 4 girls, and Melissa is the 3rd oldest. So I kind of know I don't know what it's like growing up in a big family, but being now closely, like, intertwined with a big family. I get it. Uh, 5 girls, 1 boy. They kept trying for one more boy. Oh my goodness. I cannot imagine that. Yeah, that's crazy. Both tired and sleep deprived for sure. Yep. Whatever you're feeling, just know that I'm there with you. Just in the middle of the night, if you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired, I'm feeding, just think like Danny's probably going through the same thing, on the other side of the country, experiencing this with me. I'm there with you. Hey, at least you're still young and you have the energy for it. I feel like we had kids pretty late. 36 years. I guess 35. Even though now I'm 36. But I feel like people are waiting longer and longer to have kids nowadays. But when you're pushing mid to late 30s, that's when you gotta be a little bit more concerned about potential health complications. Your success rate for getting pregnant and giving birth or getting pregnant is like way lower than someone in their ripe 20s. And yeah, I feel like so by the time the girls graduate high school, I'm gonna be 54 years old. Is that considered an old dad? What the hell? You're 36, bro. I thought you were 20. No, yeah. We're considered a little bit on the older range of the scale, and I know people have kids into their 40s and stuff, but that's usually not recommended. And you have to like, there's more like protocols and stuff like that you want to do to make it safe. So, yeah. 50s dad isn't bad. 70s dad is crazy. Yeah, for graduating high school. I'm not sure if I knew anybody like that. I don't think so, but. And Daniel Hulan says, I have a bunch of kids. I do mental health crisis therapy with kids, and working with them is enough for me. That takes a lot of me as it is. I can imagine having kids of my own. If that's how you've always felt, then, not. I don't think everyone was meant to have kids. Some people are meant to be uncles and aunties and stuff like that, or bigger brothers and things. But I hope your occupation did not skew you to believe that. Okay, sorry. We got derailed, but back to the motherboard discussion. So I saw earlier comments of people saying, what? They're still selling B550 boards. And that's exactly what's happening now. So if you look, actually, are they still selling new B450 boards? Them ending production on B650 motherboards is the same thing as them ending production on the B350 motherboards for AM4, right? It's not that they're ending mid-range boards for the chipset. That's essentially what B450 boards are. The next, I guess, the next set of boards for the given socket. Because this is the, how do we even classify this? The second generation of AM5 motherboards, right? It went from B650, I don't know why they skipped 700 series, but whatever, to the 800 series. That's like when they went from the B350 to 450 and then eventually to 550, right? And if you look at it, so we do see B550 boards. It's because AM4 is still alive and kicking, and this is the final chipset for it. So there has been 2 chipsets before, one of which I think we can't even find normal prices for. Let's take a look. So see B450 boards here, B550. Yeah, so when I type in B350, the only thing I can find is this, which is probably a third-party seller. Who is this being sold by? One Deal Outlet Online, right? So, yeah, this is essentially out of production, and any of the ones that you can't find for brand new is probably just some reseller trying to make some money off of it. But so the end of B650 is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just we're gonna have to see where the prices land, and it looks like we still have a couple of months, and then beyond that, because October was the, they said clearance plans should be completed. Most clearance plans should be completed by October 2025, but the distribution and retail stock is likely to trickle for months afterwards. So we might have a few months of, I don't know if this means boards are going to be cheaper as retailers try to get rid of them, or are they going to go the direction of, oh, it's out of stock, let's bump the price up. So I will probably still buy B650 boards while the prices are okay, especially Amazon renewed stuff. But after that, it looks like we're all going to have to hop on the B850 train. Will they stop driver support? You're talking about like BIOS and stuff? No. Let me take a look at, let's see, B450 motherboards. No, they still support, let's see, let's look at a random gigabyte one, right? So if we look at B450, which you could say is pretty old right now. Let's take a look at it. I'm just going to look at a random board. Let's look at the latest BIOS update that was given to it. Support. Okay, so we look at... so here's driver stuff, which I'm not as concerned about. Like Realtek stuff, I don't think there's much to be updated afterwards. What you care about is chipset drivers, which look, this was, I mean, it was a year and a half ago, but B450 is pretty old. But let's look at the BIOS, which I feel like is the most important one. Yeah, this is a B450M gaming. They're still releasing BIOS up till, I mean, this, what, 5 months ago? But to still be releasing updates into 2025, like, that's a good sign that the boards that they discontinued, yeah, still getting, like, AGESA support and all that stuff, and microcode updates, so you don't have to worry if you have a B650 board. They will still be supported for a long time to come. I hate how some of the AMD sockets are sideways. That's actually not something that I've ever paid attention to. Let me see. Or are you talking about... That was mostly for the B550s, right? And B450s? Wait, did they ever... Aren't they all sideways for the AM4 stuff? Did they ever make a... I'm assuming you mean like this, when you put the chip in, it sits sideways. Looks like B650 was not. But I don't think within a given chipset they had rotated ones, did they? AM4, I think it's always sideways, if I can remember that correctly. And the AM5 seems to be all right side up. But the way that... you worded that, it made it sound like AMD sockets are sideways. How some of them are sideways, I mean, I think all of them for a given chipset are one direction or the other. Speaking of, I kind of need an AM5 board for an upcoming build that I'm doing. So, let's do some budget motherboard shopping. Amazon renewed. Used condition. Let's see what they got. See, 176, 207, 174. Here's, let's take a look at this one. I'm doing a kind of like all blacked out build, and I'm using the 7500F that I picked up a while ago. Let's see what the AliExpress situation on that is like. From high, I hate searching from high to low price. Wait, you said from low to high, because they're gonna give me like, oh, actually, it was not horrible for once. Amazon usually throws in a bunch of garbage that's not related when you sort from low to high, but I guess I have enough filters on there. But let me take a look at the 7500F, because I'm going to have to reflect. Even though I paid less for it, I've been sitting on the 7500F for a little while. And when I do the build video, I can't say like, oh yes, this low price. I got to make it more reflective of current day pricing, which is, oh my God, 7500F. Okay, so they're sitting about 150, it looks like. So that's the reference price I'm going to have to use in the video. Let me check. What is it? Is Amazon? I could have sworn I saw 7500Fs on here. Nope. I see 7600. Oh, here it is. 209. Okay, that doesn't make sense. So 150 is the reference price. And this is going to be an ATX. Yeah, so this looks like this might be the cheapest one, especially for a blacked out. No, 140, 145. So Amazon renewed. Are people like, motherboards are such an interesting thing on Amazon renewed. It is probably one of the only PC components that you can reliably always find used like inventory for, but when you buy them, at least I've had really good luck on Amazon renewed motherboards. They come pretty much brand new with all the accessories in there, nothing missing, like all the M.2 screws, IO backplate. I've had bad luck in the past, but with the newer motherboards, they're like built in, so the IO shield isn't a thing to be concerned about anymore. So yeah, like I'm trying to think. There's no other components that usually comes shipped, almost as if it was new in box. So who are all these people out there who are buying motherboards and then returning them without ever either barely using them or just like opening up the box and not using them? Because I've bought Amazon renewed motherboards where like the seal sticker on the anti-static bag was still there. So it's just strange to me. Like, why is this a thing? Like, why are people returning motherboards as often as they are, where every single one of these listings has a bunch of offers for like a huge, not a huge, but like a pretty decent discount. 182 down to 140. $40 is, a decent amount that you could put towards other parts. I returned a few motherboards, accidentally ordered the wrong chipset. Okay, so that makes sense, but if you accidentally order the wrong chipset, you essentially, like, you're returning it as brand new. So, yes, always test them for pins within a few days. I always test the parts, like, as soon as I get it. I mean, you actually have, like, 30 days to return usually, but, yeah. Buyer's remorse. I mean, it's just strange how motherboards is that, like, category of parts that does that. I usually don't see the same discounts and, like, used inventory for, like, graphics cards. RAM is not even really worth buying used because the price difference isn't even that much. Like, motherboards is specifically the one component that you get such huge savings going renewed. Everything else is kind of, like, minor. CPUs, you get a pretty good savings as well. But sometimes for those, like, every time I bought a renewed CPU, you could tell that it was renewed. Like, the box is more beat up or, like, not put back together well. People buy parts and can't commit. I don't know. I had boards I never touched for years. Same here, but I don't return it back to Amazon. I eventually end up using it or selling it in the used market because you're going to be beyond the 30-day return window anyways for that long. I haven't even reached AM5 and AMD is ending the B650 mobile. Wow. They're ending it because you're meant to go on to the next B850s, which are similarly priced. And it's been around for coming up on 3 years. I don't remember when they stopped. Let's actually take a look at that. AMD stops B350 chipset. Let's see when the news was that. No, it did not stop production. Okay. I'm trying to find if there's an equivalent article for when they ended B350. Okay. One of the annoying things though about B550, if that's going to be the last AM4, you know, chipset to exist, one of the biggest things that I've noticed is you can't use first and I think maybe second gen Ryzen chips on all B550 boards, which is kind of annoying, right? Because it's the same socket and it's the most updated version of that socket. So why would you not have support for the first chips that came out for that socket? It just seems weird to me that like B350 and B450 motherboards, if you have the right BIOS update, can run chips from as old as like a Ryzen 1700 to like a 5800 X3D. But there are a lot of B550 motherboards that cannot run first and second gen Ryzen chips, like 1700s and Ryzen 1600s stuff. And you might say, why do you care? Like those chips suck and they're so old anyways. But that's not the point. The point is the only boards that you can buy new is the B550. So dropping support for CPUs that are on that platform, it's just kind of weird to me when the lower tier boards can support the wide range of products. BIOS file size limitations, then wait, I'm trying to think. For any of the boards that I've updated, like the B450 boards, because that one I think has like the most flexibility. The B450 boards that I've updated to support the latest, 5000 series chips, did that BIOS make it so that the like first and second gen Ryzen chips don't work anymore? I guess I've never tested that. Because anytime I've updated the BIOS for like a B450 board, it is so I can run the latest CPUs with no problems. But I never try to throw back in a first or second gen chip to see if it then stopped working. Oh, is that the case? For B450s, if you update, you lose the first gen support? Okay, I wasn't aware of that because I've never been in a situation that I've done that and then reverted. Interesting. So then you would have to roll back the BIOS. Okay. Interesting. But I guess to me that you still have more flexibility because you have a BIOS version that still works, if that makes sense, right? Like going into the future, once all these other like lower end or older gen, I guess, boards become unavailable, it would almost be best to have yourself like B450 boards because you can put whatever BIOS version works for whatever CPU you want to pair it with. Whereas with the 500 series level boards, there's not even a BIOS version that supports the old stuff from, let me actually see. Let's see, B550 motherboard. I'm hoping that won't be a similar case with the AM5. Yeah, because to me that's annoying. Like the hardware is there. Why not just make have BIOS versions that support the wide range of chips that fit into the socket? Okay, let me see. Can just pick a motherboard, please? Sure. B550 plus. No, don't buy now. So let me take a look at supports. CPU memory support. Okay. So if you look at CPU, go all the way down, 50 series, 30 series, so like 3000 series chips. At least they're not listing that you can use some, that you can use some specific BIOS version over here on the right to support the first and second gen chips. Okay, drivers and tools, Windows, BIOS and firmware. What the heck? Why is nothing populating? Oh, there we go. Yeah, for this one, see all downloads. Okay, if we go back, all the way back. 3000 series. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I find that a little bit annoying, but that's also kind of a niche problem because you could argue, yeah, no one should really be putting together a computer now using a B550 board and trying to throw like a Ryzen 1700 in it. For me, as a person who tests stuff, it's just easier when I do like revisit videos to be able just to have a B550 board so that I could test a wide range of processors on it. But yeah. I lost support for the 3300X on my B550. Interesting. I thought 3000 series chips were pretty safe. Let me see. Let me take a look at this one specifically. Yeah, like this so it depends. I guess it depends on the specific board and manufacturer. But like this B550 board has support for the 3300X at least 20. Oh wait, this is 242. This might be like a really old one. So you might lose support once you go to like, you know, one of these 2800 BIOS revisions. Yeah. Now will a BIOS flash? Yeah, it should bring support back. Dare D says, man, this community helps more than my local PC shops. Dare D, I think I've been missing your messages, but it seems like the chat has got you handled. Let me take a look. Why do you all say I shouldn't use a 9950 X3D in a 650E board? Is there a problem with that? Wait, who says that? Did someone above say that? Sorry. I'm not seeing anyone who said not to do that. You have the NZXT B650E. Okay. Yeah. If you go to the website, in terms of the support, and you already have this, or are you looking to get it? If you already have it, then there's no need to upgrade your motherboard, NZXT. But for the money saved, yeah, I don't think there's a big need to upgrade to an 850 or 850E. Your shop told you not to use the B650E that you already have to upgrade, or when you upgrade your chip. Yeah. Well, were they trying to sell you a board? Also, are they doing like the build for you? Are you like paying them, you know, to assemble or to do the swap? That might be why, but yeah, you're fine using it. Sharon R is saying they use the B650E, NZXT specific B650E. Works great with any 9000 series. They're using one. Yeah, I see no problems with that. What up, Pete Dunn? Welcome to the stream. They are doing the upgrading for you? Okay. I'm trying to think. Would they try to pull something fast and like say it doesn't work or stuff like that? Hopefully if you tell them, hey, I want to keep this motherboard, can you just put the chip in, then they'll just do it without screwing you over. But let us know if that's not the case. NZXT uses ASRock as the OEM, and ASRock with some Agesa updates was killing X3D chips. Is that still the case though? Let's take a look at this. Let's see. B650E killing X3D chips. Did they not did they not like patch that already? Let's see, let's take a look at the latest BIOS update actually. You said ASRock fixed it a while ago. Latest ASRock BIOS for it fixed it. Yeah, but NZXT, you would be getting the what's it called? The BIOS from them, not ASRock. So where is the come on NZXT? What the heck? Where's your where's like your BIOS downloads and stuff like that? What? Support. Oh man. Downloads and resources. I probably have to go through here. Components. Alright. Let's take a look at when the latest update for that is. Cases, motherboards, B650E. Here we go. Okay. Bro. They don't even put a date with these. Yeah, oh my goodness. NZXT, what are you doing? All they have is a download link. ASRock claimed to have fixed it, but there are still a few cases of oopsies. Gamers Nexus covered it. Yeah, I think I remember seeing that. I guess it's kind of hard to say, right? Because we don't know what the actual number is of how many chips are dying, even post patch. And I guess, do we know if those people are just running like stock, or are they like running overclocks, or if they are like, have they, you know, tinkered with anything in the BIOS? For me personally, it would be something that I kept on my radar, but I don't know if I would be concerned if I had this specific NZXT B650E board and I was trying to throw 9950 X3D in it. Born Joker says, it's a newer CPU. They're still burning up. That's what you expect from new CPUs nowadays. There was a poll, but it's been a while. Most people I know sold the board. Version 3.25 fixed with the optimized PBO settings. That was the issue. Okay. I feel like that, yeah, see, I was going to say, I feel like that might scare DRD. Because we even have, okay. Let me run another poll. Do you think the NZX, would you be concerned using the NZXT B650E board with a 9950 X3D with latest BIOS? Let's see what the split is. I feel like it's going to be a pretty close to even split of people who would be okay with just running the motherboard with the latest BIOS versus people who are concerned because there have been reports of 9950 X3Ds dying. And I haven't been following that too closely. Has that been exclusively ASRock motherboards? Has there been any chips burning from other manufacturers' boards? Let's see. X3D chips burning. See if I can find anything here. ASRock failures face to face. Okay, so the gamers met. Yeah, they covered it in May. Burning saga continues. Okay. ASRock. I'm trying to see if is it specific ASRock, or if has there been burnt chips from any other manufacturer's motherboards. Hey, what up, Chris? Yeah, see, so far with the votes, it's coming in pretty close to half and half. 10 May says not worth the hassle. I wouldn't risk it. Just get a board with none of the problems. See, another board is going to be close to 200 bucks. I mean, you could get a cheaper one, like an Amazon Renewed board, but... did I see the Asus 5090 with 800 watt power draw? I did not. ASRock has been the main culprit, but are they the only culprit? See, how's when I type in X3 chip problems motherboards? Okay, let's see if what are the right keywords. ASRock in the instability 5 months ago. Okay. Reading these comments makes me think none of you actually watched the video. The most that can be semi-conclusively tied to ASRock at the moment are some BIOS versions that may have been undervolting the CPU and didn't actually harm them. The CPUs burning up that were actually damaged happened across multiple vendors, not just ASRock. People here don't watch or read anything past the Tyler headline, which is what I'm doing right now, because I do not want to get copyright struck for watching the Gamers Nexus video. Okay, what else? I have a 9800X3D and an ASRock X870E Nova motherboard. My initial reaction to the video thumbnail was, uh-oh, then I watched the video. Basically, there isn't really an issue. There are two things: the general failure rate across all motherboard manufacturers where CPUs burning up, and completely separate issues with the BIOS on ASRock motherboards. These are getting thrown in together, making it look like ASRock motherboards are burning up CPUs, but the conclusion of the video is that it's actually a BIOS issue, and either rolling back or updating the BIOS should solve the problem. They are not the same. But this was 6 months ago. So, Gamers Nexus's video from May, I have not seen, but I don't know if it's a continuation on this, or was there actually a lot more chips still being, let me see, we gotta get, to the bottom of this. X3D ASRock, Gamers Nexus. We gotta get to the bottom of this. Gamers Nexus talks face to face. Okay. Well, in the first 5 minutes, you see dirty gameplay. Okay. My reading of the comments is certain X3D chips are less robust at handling power compared to 7000 series. Okay. Therefore, ASRock reduced the PBO settings to be more conservative to mitigate the issue. That's why some chips are defective. Okay, what? But why would it be only ASRock that have reports of damaged CPUs? It's like 1 in 1,000 chances that yours blow up. That's how I feel most of these these issues are. And that's not to say that stuff that you own that currently is not in the news for being problematic might not become problematic in the coming months, right? It's just, yeah, I don't know. Just from everything I'm reading so far, I personally would not be as concerned. But for someone who that's your only PC, I can see why you would be more kind of wary of it. I'm trying to read all these clowns talk trash. Okay, what? Okay, yeah. So that 3.25, this is the BIOS revision. I think most people are talking about. Won't fix anything for older CPUs that were exposed to elevated PBO settings. It's kind of like Intel. Okay, yeah, if the CPU is already damaged, which in this case, for their D, I don't think that's the case because they're upgrading to that chip. So, I think this answer makes the most sense. If your chip was already damaged by using the old BIOS for months on end, updating the BIOS isn't going to all of a sudden kind of like bring the life of your chip back from the degradation that already occurred. So it can still fail after the fact. But if you have a fresh chip with this new BIOS update, it sounds like there shouldn't be a problem. So yeah, I don't think you're going to get a clear answer on this. And I'm going to be careful not to give a specific recommendation to you because I don't want to be held liable or put to blame if you do this and you have an issue. But for me personally, based on everything I've read so far and my somewhat limited knowledge on the situation and on just like the way this works, statistics of, you know, computer part failures and stuff like that, I would be okay with putting a fresh 9950 X3D with a B650, the NZXT B650E, with an updated motherboard and starting a new build fresh like that. That's my personal decision and choice. And I will, you know, deal with the consequences should anything happen. But you got to ask yourself, are you willing to spend the 200-ish bucks to get a new motherboard when you already have one that is apparently working? We were all assuming NZXT cared to update the BIOS. They did. We saw it right here. This is specifically, yeah. Someone pointed out that optimizing PBO settings is is part of that, the main part of the update. So it should be covered, but like with a lot of things, I don't think there's like conclusive 100% evidence to be able to point to, you know, ASRock being the, well, there's no evidence to point to the newest BIOS update killing chips. Let's say that. The old ones, maybe, but I think it's also worth noting is you'll likely not experience any degradation or damage if updating the BIOS is the first thing you do after building with it. Yeah, I think that's the point that we were trying to get to, right? Like, people likely ran these chips on the old BIOS for a while, causing the damage, and then, you know, with damages like this, not everyone's chip is going to die at the same time. So chips started to die, but some of them will take longer to die, but still degrade. And then when the issue was discovered and then the update was put in place, people who updated could have had damaged chips that, as they continued running, eventually died. So, yeah, I don't think there's enough information out there to give like a 100% conclusive answer as to what you should do. But you kind of got to go with your gut. And if you are concerned about it, just replace the motherboard. You could sell your old motherboard, I guess, and lose some money, but yeah. I know when I built my PC, I didn't have another PC to download a BIOS update, so I would have been screwed in this scenario. No, well, are we concerned about running the... Actually, I haven't looked into it, and I don't even know if there's an answer to this, but would running on an old BIOS for like 20 minutes so you can get a BIOS update, is that going to kill... or is that going to degrade the chip enough? Or is this something that's like damage over a long period of time? Either way, I'm sure you can go in and severely undervolt, underclock, disable cores or something with your CPU, just so you can get into Windows, download the BIOS, and update it. But yeah, that you do make a good point. Well, when you built your PC, you didn't have another PC to download the BIOS update. How did you get your Windows install? Because to create a bootable thumb drive, you also need another PC to like install Windows on it, unless you are transferred a drive with Windows already on it from your old build or something. But yeah. if you actually buy a copy of Windows, you get a USB with it. Wait, from the Microsoft store? Wait. Do we? Buy and download Windows 11. Okay, so yeah, I guess if you choose this USB option, 2 to 3 day shipping. Okay, but it's the same price. Why wouldn't you get the USB? I want a free thumb drive. Maybe if there was a price difference. I mean, who's paying 140? Okay, new poll. Okay, so end poll. What is the people who are concerned? Would you be concerned using the B650E from NZXT with the 9950 X3D with the latest BIOS? A little bit more people said they wouldn't be concerned, but I would say it's pretty close to a half and half split almost. All right. You ever paid over $100 for... Have you ever paid over $100 for legit Windows? And I'm trying to think. Oh man. Okay, I gotta look at my Newegg receipts. Actually, let me log into my Newegg right now if I can find. Have I ever bought Windows? If I've ever bought Windows for over $100, it might have been on my very first PC build. But now that I'm thinking back, the university that I went to, they actually had free Windows and Microsoft Office. So I don't think I've ever bought Windows. Let me look at my Windows. Is there any Windows? Yep. I have never bought Windows, it looks like. I've never bought Windows at full price, is what I mean. I bought like gray market CD keys and things like that. And then, yes, you can use that drive for the BIOS update after going to your friend's house, to use their PC to get the BIOS. Also, actually, you could, if you have a USB connector for your phone, then to like a thumb drive or external drive, you can use your phone to download the BIOS, then transfer the file over to the thumb drive, which is why USB-C is also useful, not only in your computer, but having like a USB-C like thumb drive or one of these, external SSDs or whatever. You can plug it into your phone, download the BIOS, and then plug it into your computer and update it like that. But so what's BTS what is this about the B650 discontinue? They're gonna stop production on it because kind of like how they stopped production on the B350 and then kind of push people to buy B450 and B550 motherboards. Same thing here. It's not the end of the world. It's just we might see, you might just not have as many cheap motherboard options for a little bit until more B850s hit either like price reductions and discounts or hit the used market and Amazon Renewed and Newegg refurbished listings and stuff. But yeah, that's my takeaway from the end of the B650. Because yeah, eventually they do have to stop and only start and only continue producing like the most modern generation of boards. Grayman Media, Grayman, you don't have to. I appreciate your super chat donations, but you do not have to donate $5 to get your questions answered. Seeing a video where PCs were built on a wall, but is there any PC built in the wall? A hidden secret PC with auto opening tempered glass panel with wall cooling? PC built into wall. The issue is, so this is what you're talking about, right? PCs built on a wall, which to me already is like, I don't know, man. I'm a person who moves my PC either to clean it or to take to LAN parties and things like that. So I don't think I could ever do a PC build on a wall. But you're saying in wall. Can we find any images even online of a PC built like into the wall? And I think the issue with that is, you know, you've got studs and you've got other stuff in your wall that if you're going to try to wire around and into and stuff, it's just a big pain in the butt. I guess it would look cool though if it was flush with the wall with the tempered glass. It would look cool, but practicality wise, and being recessed into the wall, it just seems like kind of a hassle. And if you did it, it was just to say that you could do it and to be unique, but usability wise, I don't know about that. But yeah, there's plenty of like cool looking PC builds on a wall, which I've never done and I've never had the like inkling or want to do. But and then some people, this kind of sketches me out. I don't know why. I mean, sure, you could do it in a way where you secure it super well and everything, but I would always just have that looming fear of all this come crashing down right on top of you or on top of your monitor and keyboard and stuff like that. I guess I paid for Windows once, those an OEM SED key or just any of those other. For a while, eBay had a bunch of cheap keys for like $3. SED key websites are usually like $15 for Windows keys, but for a little bit there during the Windows 7 and 10, I remember eBay having like straight up $3 keys. I bought some of those before. Hell no, I only paid about $35 for your Windows. Yes, way before 8. Ever is a long time, man. Probably yes, but recently no. Yeah, I don't know of many. All right, we're gonna. So let me look at the poll so far. So about 2/3 of the people have paid over $100 for a legit Windows key. Is Seattle earthquake country like SoCal? Nah. I don't know when our last, like, we had like micro tremors or whatever where like it's like a little bit of vibration. I don't remember the last time I felt like a legit earthquake that might have knocked something off a shelf. It's been a while. But even without earthquakes, it would still kind of sketch me out. Especially with some of these. A lot of these are just like open builds with a big tempered glass hanging from there. I don't know. That's just looking at that kind of stresses me out. I kind of regret buying the Ryzen 7 7800X 3D. I think 14th Gen i7 would do better. What? I can't tell if you're trolling or not. You must be baiting. I think this is bait. Unless we get a follow-up response or explanation, I don't know. I feel like this might be bait, Canadian guy. Dan H. I'm a bit late, but I was able to transfer a Windows license from a 10-year-old OEM PC to my new one, even though it wasn't connected to Microsoft account. Let me think. Transfer a Windows license from a 10-year-old OEM PC to my new PC, even though it wasn't connected. I'm trying to think of how that happened, how you could do that, because OEM is usually tied to the motherboard. And you didn't like connect it via the Microsoft account. I'm not sure if I've ever done that before, but this leads me to my next question. Have you ever paid over 100 for legit Windows? 3070. So most people said no. Okay. All right. We're going to ask the next question, which is going to be anonymous. If you guys want to in the chat, feel free to answer. I don't think you would really be incriminating yourself because by this point, I think most people, kind of see pirating Microsoft products is okay or not an issue. Citrus, what up, Citrus? Sup. Thank you for the continued support. 38 months. Have you used mass? What's it called? Mass. Okay. Here we go. Have you used Mass? I should have actually typed out what it is. Microsoft Activation Script. Have you used that to activate Windows? Now, some people are probably going to be like, what is that? Then LTT made a video about this, right? I mean, I think by now Mass is like pretty well known. So, for those not in the know, Microsoft Activation Script is a PowerShell command or script that you can run. And basically, I'm not saying I support or condone this. We are talking about Windows and activation here. It's just like talking about pirating. I'm not endorsing it, but just for people who don't know, it's essentially a way to I don't know like the intricacies behind it, of like how or why it works, but you could essentially activate your Windows or other Office products completely for free, and like there's like no risk in terms of like viruses, malware, or anything like that using this. And it's on there's like it's on like GitHub and everything, but basically it's getting free Windows. I would say the most risk-free legit way to quote unquote pirate Windows. Just know if you paid full price for a Windows key, Bill Gates isn't worried. He's focused on turning carbon into butter. You have to do in-place upgrades to evolve the keys. Okay, what are we talking about? There used to be a method to extract OEM keys from the motherboard and reuse. I've never done that, and I was not aware of that. Craig Lilly with his Linux Mint. I'm on Mint. What is this Windows? There is a way to activate Windows through... Yes, exactly. Yeah. You don't need to activate it. You can get rid of the watermark very easily. What about the rest of the stuff, though? It's because it's not just about the watermark. It's about the other things that get locked behind unactivated Windows. Kind of like the themes and background and stuff like that. Honestly, not activating it might be better. Who needs more services from Windows? Yeah. Tariq, what's up? Or Tarek, sorry. Hi all, I came late. What is this about AMD ending B650? They're going to stop production on the boards. Kind of like they've done in previous generation of boards too. But you have the B850, which is pretty much the replacement of it. That's like slightly better. But yeah, it's, you know, a 3-year-old chipset. And I guess that's means it's time to move on. I don't remember how long B350 lasted until they ended production on that, but yeah. It's on GitHub, which is Microsoft owned. You would think that Microsoft would take it down if they were concerned. I think they just want people on Windows no matter how it's done these days. Yeah, so that's one of the explanations I've heard a lot about pirating Windows being ethical, because when you use Windows, they're already spying on you and taking your data and all that kind of stuff. So you are... What's that saying? When a product is free, you are the product. So I think a lot of people justify pirating Windows because Microsoft is already getting their returns back from you using the operating system and giving them all your data and stuff. So, but yeah, it is on GitHub, which is Microsoft owned, which is very interesting. I'm sure Microsoft is aware of it, but it hasn't been taken down, so... Yes, your data is worth more to them than a key cost. Yes, yes, yes. Without activating Windows, we cannot use Defender or any computer without antivirus is a big no-no for normies. I always look up the commands to manually bring the dialog box for that stuff. Usually works. Daniel Hulan says, "Hey Danny, what is the program you can use to install a debloated version of Windows?" Honestly, I'm lazy and I just have a bunch of Windows things that I've made beforehand. But I think Rufus does that, right? Microsoft Rufus bootable. Let me see if I remember right. If Rufus lets you turn off a bunch of that stuff. I thought in their latest version for Windows that people have been using for Windows 11, I thought there was a way to turn off. Let's see, partition screens. Edition. Okay, maybe it wasn't Rufus. Oh, no. So Rufus has the ability to set up a bootable drive so that you can bypass the requirements for old hardware for like Secure Boot TBM 2.0. But disable data collection, skip privacy questions. But in terms of the bloat, maybe Rufus didn't do that with like you're talking about like OneDrive and all that stuff that comes with Windows. Off the top of my head, I cannot remember what program people use to debloat. It doesn't survive updates, but I use CTT, says 10 May. What do you mean? Like with updates, does all that debloated stuff that you remove comes back? Yes, Jay made a video about it recently. I cannot remember off the top of my head though. Jay's been making a ton of videos about like programs and stuff like this. How to disable all Microsoft Windows spying. That's not the one we're talking about. NVMe coolers, gaming on Linux. What was it? Free utility makes our life so much easier. Was it this one? Let me see. Oh my god, I just probably blew you guys' eardrums out. If you want to keep all your installs in one place, okay, that's all your installers. That's not the same thing as the debloat, though. This is just to download a bunch of your programs all at once, right? Where's the debloating one? I thought I remembered seeing it too, but he just didn't. Shut up 10. No more spyware. Okay. So disable built-in spyware tracking telemetry. Well, shut up 10. That I don't know if that's what Daniel is asking about. He's asking about debloating. I mean, that might encompass like spyware tracking and telemetry stuff. But I was thinking more like the Microsoft App Store and OneDrive and Copilot, or I don't know whatever else. Let me see. What does Windows 11 come with? I just use the standard, the standard ISO from the official Microsoft website, and then I disable it once I get in. But let's see, add remove program. Like what programs come with Windows 11 that I'm like super annoyed at and would want to get rid of even before installation? Let me see. Let me take a look. So what are we looking at? Like if you like Outlook is on there by default. Bing. Honestly, it doesn't seem like there's that much bloat. It's more of that data collection stuff that it seems like people would be more concerned about. Like the Xbox Live app, that's a part of it. What else? And most of those things, I just go in, look at the startup programs, and just disable them, and then I move on. You can remove secure boot and TPM requirements for Windows 11, but then games with anti-cheat will have issues with it. So it depends if that's going to be an issue for you or not. I mean, for the people who have old hardware, they don't have any other choice, right? Well, I mean, they can stay on Windows 10, but once end of life comes, and unless you get like an extended like version or extended support version, then you kind of have to. I guess you don't have to. If you're okay with just going on without any more updates, but games with okay, when we talk about games with anti-cheat, because this is also a problem with like the different Linux based operating systems for like Steam games and stuff like that, right? Is there like specific, doesn't all online games have anti-cheat software? But it sounds like it's only a specific subset of games that have problems when you try to game on Linux. Or I guess if you're trying to, you know, remove secure boot and TPM requirements. But I haven't, I guess I haven't done any testing with regards to which games actually just do not work. Because I thought pretty much every game out there has online multiplayer game out there has some form of anti-cheat, right? Hey, what up, Shauner? I always just use Chris Titus Windows utility. Windows improved. 5-minute program installation. Checks all programs you want to install in one go. Tweaks. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like people are recommending this, Daniel. Which I haven't felt the need to use any specialty tools. I don't mind going in as things, you know, as things pop up and annoy me. I'm like, okay, let me either uninstall or disable it. Some Chinese X99 boards are even including TPM now. So that's a win for the budget builders going off of AliExpress boards. Battlefield 6. Okay, so that's one example given so far of a specific game that does not work without secure boot. A lot of people had to enable it for the beta, lol. GJ Cool says, just use the mask to activate Windows. Nice. Valorant and League also require secure boot now. Now? And it didn't used to be that, so that was like a recent. Valorant doesn't work either. Oh, I need to test this. I have a budget system. It was a $200 build that I did based off of the X99 platform from AliExpress. I put Windows 11 on it, and I also did the bypass. But I haven't gone and tested games on it. So if I'm gonna pass that off to somebody, I should make sure. I might have to go back to Windows 10 on it. I've seen people have conflicting issues with Valorant and Battlefield 6 installed on the same time as Reddit. Wait, I've not seen that. But then again, I don't really play Valorant or Battlefield 6. It says, of course I use mass. Surprisingly, based on the votes so far, if you take a look at this, wait, it doesn't show it there. But I can see the results of the ongoing. Almost 80% of the people in the chat have not used mass to activate Windows. Now, I'm not saying you should or should not, because I don't know if I can get in trouble for that, but that's surprising to me because I guess $15 for a Windows key is not a lot of money, and people are they would rather spend that than to do something potentially like illegal. Apparently, Battlefield 6 wants you to uninstall Valorant. I did not know that. I didn't even know what Secure Boot was until I tried to play Battlefield 6 beta. I trust mass more than a sketchy cheap key that may not work. I was mass born on an XP machine, which is legacy software, but it worked. Not only does my bro still use Norton, he pays for it. I think most people just don't know what even mass is. Yeah, I guess for a lot of people, they're not building a ton of systems, so there's no need to look for alternatives to getting Windows keys or to just not even pay for Windows keys. So yeah, I guess for a lot of people with their one system that they upgrade probably every 3, 4, 5 years, paying $15 is not the end of the world, and they just do that and not have to think about any of the, I guess, implications for using mass. Lol at Norton. Windows Defender does enough without bugging you all the damn time. Yeah. Though, okay, next question. So we got a 75-25 split on the mass. We're running all the polls tonight. Pick the answer that most applies to you guys. But with regards to, because now we're talking about antivirus and stuff like that, how often do you run manual scans for either Windows Defender or whatever virus protection software that you use? Because Windows Defender runs in the background and it pops up whenever you try to download something that might potentially be malicious or things like that. But how often do you go into the panel and be do a manual scan? Or I guess some people, let me see, do I even have it set up? Protection. What is my computer doing? Because I think by default it runs scans. Yeah, you can have it, I guess, set to run on a schedule. So I'm talking about manual. So I should have specified that in the poll. So I screwed up there. Can I edit the poll? Nope, I can't. But yeah, for mine, apparently a quick scan was run today at 2 p.m. But for me to go in and do a manual scan, I pretty much maybe do that once a year, if I had to guess. I don't know. Lol, monthly, usually after a reminder. I use my antivirus every day before doing anything else. On customer PC, every time they drop the machine off. For personal builds, I would rather nuke Windows and reinstall. I'm with you, Tanmei. Well, in terms of, running a scan is whatever, right? Most of the time the scans come back clean. There's nothing wrong. But I agree with you. If I suspect there's anything going on with regards to viruses or malware or spyware or Trojans, whatever the heck, I do usually opt for backing up important files and nuking Windows. Yes. Only if I download something I'm not too sure about. The issue with that is, though, a lot of times there's false positives, right? So you download things and it says it's, problematic, but then it is not. And most of the time, the things that are marked flagged for like problematic is like it usually is pirated stuff or like key generators and stuff like that. Remember those days? Using key generators and but I'm trying to think of anything recently that I've downloaded and Windows Defender was like, whoa, hold up. Are you sure you want to download this? Maybe mod files for games, but it's not too often that I run into that. I don't run virus scans, well, because I don't download adult content, you gooners. There's legit stuff that you can download that Windows thinks looks sketchy. Usually it's either like some kind of mod or custom, I don't know, open source thing that someone made for some program you're using, right? That looks like a little sketchy, but I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of like a specific thing I've downloaded that had that warning pop up recently. Star also says, okay, what's going on? My computer is acting weird right now. How's the stream coming through? What's going on? It's actually this specific window. It's my chat window is being weird. It's like freezing. Uh-oh. Hopefully we're still live. Yeah, what the heck? Chrome just crashed. Alright. Okay, stream is fine. Yeah, Chrome... What the heck? I don't even have like a billion tabs open. Interesting. Chrome was just freezing up for some reason. It's fine. It's weird because... How much RAM do I have? I forget how much RAM I have in my system. Yeah, we got 64 gigs of RAM. And I've literally got, well, I have a bunch of Firefox tabs open because that's what we use for the stream. But like no more than 20 total. So that's strange. Excuse me. Or just Chrome being weird. Chrome crash, what is your setup? In terms of like hardware? I mean, a 12700K B580 Intel Arc card, 64 gigs of RAM. Pretty standard stuff, kind of. But yeah, that's so weird. Chrome started freezing up and then it crashed, but now it's back and just fine. Let's see. Danny getting DDoSed? I don't know. Maybe because remember the other week I showed my public IP address doing the Windows speed or doing the speed test. I've only heard Windows thinks keygens and cracks are malware. Yeah, pretty sick techno beats. I'm pretty sure. So I'm like a digital file hoarder. I'm pretty sure I have keygens on my storage server or on my my NAS somewhere of some games I have pirated like years and years ago that uses those techno keygen apps and stuff. And every time I do like a deep Windows like scan that scans everything, those keygens pop up. We're talking about like Shaun White snowboarding 2008, game cracks and stuff like that. Back years ago when I used to pirate and download stuff. And I can never get myself to delete all that old stuff for some reason. Yeah, Windows thinks every crack is a Trojan. I don't know why I would do that. Definitely never pirated anything. Yeah. Does anyone leave user account control on? No, that's the first thing. Like anytime you do a fresh Windows install and then you try to do anything, Windows user account is like, "Oh, are you sure you want to do this?" And then I have to go over and click change settings. But the annoying thing is when you click change settings and then you move that little slider down so that it's non-intrusive and then you close out of it, it doesn't continue with your installation or whatever the heck you were doing. You have to like run the executable or whatever. I don't know why Windows does that. Why would you pop up a warning saying, "Are you sure you want to do this? Let me change the settings," and then not go back to continuing with the installation? That's like one of the biggest annoyances. Every single time, like I install fresh Windows for whatever build. Chrome acting dumb. Google will call that a feature. Yeah. I have 64 gigs and thousands of tabs killed it. Thousands? I've never tried running thousands of tabs. I don't even know if I've ever tried running up to hundreds of tabs. I'm pretty bad when it comes to closing my tabs, but still, I don't think I've ever really reached 100. And it's usually because I restart my computer about once a week. The only time, basically, I restart my computer the day of stream. Like before stream starts, I restart it, and then I keep the PC basically on throughout the week. And then, I just want the PC to be kind of running as fresh as possible so that there's as little as problems with the streams. But, okay, let me end that poll because actually, no, we're not going to run a poll on this. Let me know in the chat how often you guys restart your PCs, because me, once a week. And I've been doing it like that for pretty much as long as I can remember. Actually, before I was streaming consistently, I would probably go like 2-3 weeks, maybe even a month without ever shutting my computer down. I restart 2 times a day. I turn off my PC every night. Me, maybe once a month. Once every couple of weeks. Okay, so we do have a fair amount of people who keep their PCs on pretty much like 24/7 and restart, and don't like restart or shut down every day. Every few days, something usually needs a restart. Personal work computer 2 times a day. 2 times a day. Personal? Why 2 times? Shut down every night. Usually after an update law. Other than that, shut down every night. But sometimes I'm farming points for Twitch, so you leave it on overnight. Yeah. Bluetooth hasn't worked for me, so I need to reinstall Windows at some point. You know what's funny, Shaner? My latest... So I had always intended to eventually upgrade to Windows 11. But are you on 11 or are you still on 10? But this latest time, like the computer right now that I'm using to run the stream, I upgraded to 11. My breaking point was specifically because Premiere Pro was being stupid with my Intel Arc card. It refused to export a video. It would always freeze halfway through the export. And no matter how much I looked online on like the Adobe forums, Reddit, and stuff like that, I rolled back Premiere Pro versions. I rolled back driver versions. Nothing worked. I could not render a video, which is a huge problem. So I said, screw it. I'm going to try a new Windows install. And since I'm doing a new Windows install, let's just go to 11. And that's how I'm on Windows 11 now. And that fixed the problem. But yeah, it's sometimes problems like this that, like, no matter what you do looking online, you can't find a solution. It's almost less of a headache to nuke it, reinstall Windows, and then that likely fixes the problem, unless it really is like a hardware issue. So I totally get what you mean there. 11, and it hasn't been great? Really? I've been enjoying 11. Okay, maybe not enjoying. I've been using 11 as if it was like 10. It is not that different compared to 10 to me, for my use cases, that I don't really understand the hate and backlash that it's gotten. Like, I don't feel like Windows 11 has been like negatively impacted my workflow or my my use of my computer daily, gaming, creating content, etc. I don't trust Windows to suspend/sleep gracefully. They always mess up my spinning rush drive spinning down. I haven't had hard disk drives in my systems for a while, but when I did, I still I never let the computer sleep or hibernate. It was always just sitting idle, turn off the monitor, running screensaver or whatever. But yeah. Why not try DaVinci Resolve's free version? It has everything you'd ever need. The DaVinci Resolve's free version is actually kind of limited, isn't it? With regards to the export in terms of, like, can you even do 1080p 60 or 30 free? Isn't it limited to like 720? I think I was gonna try it. Like I had downloaded DaVinci Resolve, installed it, started messing around with it, and then did a practice export. And based on the export settings that they gave you for the free version, I was like, wait, what? This is way more limited than I thought it was gonna be. And I forgot if it was the resolution or bitrate or what that turned me off. And I was like, okay, nope, I'm going back to Premiere Pro. Even though DaVinci Resolve is the better value, because you can just buy it outright for like a few $100. And I pay a few $100 every year for Premiere Pro. But it's just the learning curve would be way too difficult. Oh, speaking of which, because we're talking about editing. Okay, I was going to ask you guys. Oh, where is it? So, or I was going to tell you guys, surprisingly, no LAN party questions this stream so far. But, so I finished the prep video for the LAN party story spring 2025. Here's the 2 thumbnails, right? So, I think I'm going to run A/B testing on these. But my question is, my plan, because I'm still editing the full LAN, I'm going to put it on this thumbnail so that you guys don't just have my blurred out butt cheeks on the screen. But I was thinking to release this pre-LAN video, which is going to be 33 minutes. This pre-LAN video is the longest pre-LAN video because we had a lot of people come over on Thursday night. But I could release that this coming Friday or Saturday and then release the full LAN the following week. Or don't release anything this week and then next weekend release this on the Wednesday and then the full LAN on the Friday. But I was leaning towards releasing the pre-LAN video on this coming Friday and giving a week in between because this is longer and it gives more people to like build up hype and all that stuff for it. Because I feel sometimes when I release this on the Wednesday and then the full LAN on Friday, people don't even watch the pre-LAN video, which this one, like, it was pretty, like, there's a lot that I documented. So tease us and release the LAN prep video. When? Like, with a week in between? Or release it closer to the full LAN video? Because I think at 33 minutes, this gives people enough, like, to hold them over. Because I definitely need until next weekend to finish the full LAN. I'm in the middle of editing it right now. But, yeah, this one started, we had 4 people over the Thursday night. Because I went to pick people up. Well, my Bluetooth has never worked on the PC. Could be the board, but I guess I've tried everything. And ever since upgrading my sister's PC 11, she had a ton of issues. Now her Discord doesn't work. That is very strange. Yeah, that's so weird. Because I'm sure there's plenty of people in the chat right now, even on 11, that, like, I've never had since installing 11, which has been in a few months now, I have not had a problem with Discord. But that's like PCs for you. Just like weird problems that is not really replicable. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, the issue with DaVinci Resolve for me is learning a whole new program. Plus, I use Photoshop, which you can use free versions of Photoshop, but like my whole workflow works around Adobe products. And sometimes when I have to fix audio, I do it in Adobe Audition, which links to Premiere Pro. So the whole, as much, I hate Adobe's business practices, but I'm kind of locked in because I've been using Photoshop and Premiere Pro for like 20 plus years. So it's really, really hard to break away from that ecosystem, like if that makes sense. I would love to get on DaVinci Resolve, but I think the time I would lose trying to learn it, plus I think it is limited in some ways. I don't know if I can make the jump. Daniel H said this week. Okay. So yeah, I'm thinking we release this week. Being a dad, yes, and that too. It doesn't help that now my time is like way more limited, right? So that's why the my DIY home NAS isn't built yet, because I've got all the hardware. It's just I'm still playing catch up. Like you guys can see here, this LAN was in spring 2025. I was supposed to get this out last month, and I'm still working on it. Right, so I'm still playing catch up, and now to try to throw in on top of that, not learning, but using a different editing program is just tough. And I don't know if I'm ever gonna get my time back, or like have the free time uh, to be able to explore other editors. Yeah, I agree. I don't know when the last version of Adobe software was that you could just buy it outright, but it does suck. But it kind of makes sense though, right? Everything is moving that way, subscription based, because as all these companies have to please their shareholders and stuff, the only way to continually make money is to do something subscription based. Otherwise, people are going to buy the software once and never buy it again and hold on to that forever. And they don't make any money, and they can't profit year out over year. Windows 11 just had an update that trashed people's data. I did not hear about that. When is it? Is it like a handful of people who got unlucky? Because, let me see. Oh, it breaks SSDs? Wait, okay, I think I might have heard about that. Microsoft's latest Windows 11 24H2 update breaks SSDs and HDDs, may corrupt your data. Technical context. Some particular budget SSD units manufactured by Western Digital come with a manufacturing defect. So, if this is what you're talking about, it is an issue with the actual SSDs and less so Windows, where they will corrupt themselves under particular write-heavy workloads. That should be okay according to manufacturer's own spec. The last Windows update happens to inflict this workload by coincidence, triggering a defect. As a response, special workload limits will be applied on affected models. Interesting. Huh. And this is Western Digital specifically? Or there might be more that just hasn't been reported yet? Unfortunately, hardware manufacturers often deviate from standards and their own specifications, and it is common in both Windows and Linux to have to include patches in the OS to deal with hardware quirks and defects. I think this is there are a number of vendors SSDs. Jay did a video on that too. I think so. I see when the different creators make videos, but I don't watch all of them. Latest Windows update. Is that what this one was? Okay. I think I saw that pop up in my feed, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. At least Jay keeping people up to date with everything going on. Yeah, it does make sense. And again, with any of these things being reported, it's like, what is the percentage of people actually affected, right? We talking like just above double digits, like above 10%, single digits, less than 1%, all of that. So, not saying it's not an issue, but it puts into perspective how much you should really be concerned. I respect how Jay is still on that content grind. Yeah, he's been doing it for a long time. Computer guy, what's going on, Danny? Can you explain a little about what Java is and how it is different from eBay, Mercari, and other websites? I would say the closest comparison between Mercari, eBay. Okay, let me think about Mercari for a second. I actually buy the least from Mercari. I think of Mercari more like Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp, because Mercari is not specific to PC or gaming related things being listed and sold. And the way that I like to explain Jawa is like eBay, except specifically for PC hardware, gaming PCs, like pre-built PCs, um, and you know they have people list consoles on there and like games and stuff as well. So it's kind of like a more niche version of eBay. Um, Similarly, like when you list something and it sells, you gotta pay your fees on it, both the platform as well as whatever you know the Stripe fee, and what else? There's buyer protection. Except buyer protection, I would say, as much as I love Jawa and like we have a good working relationship and stuff like that, I would love to see Jawa extend their buyer protection or like testing period to like, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks, because they have a pretty short window from when you get your hardware to how long you have to test to verify that it is in working condition. And for a lot of people who are sourcing parts together and stuff, like when you buy your graphics card or CPU, you might not have the rest of your parts together for the next week or two or three or month, right? So I'm not saying they should have the biggest window for returns in case anything is problematic. I think though more like a week or two would make it like a lot better for the buyer experience. But aside from that, I would say Jawa is like the eBay specifically for PC enthusiasts and PC gamers, because you're not sorting through a bunch of random crap when you search for something. You're getting like PC hardware. You're not getting a bunch of, and then you know when you sort by lowest price and stuff, because on eBay when you do that, you get all this other bloat that you're not even looking for. But I think where Jawa shines compared to any of the other online like marketplaces and platforms is the pre-built section, because they've like built this huge community of people who build systems and sell them ready to go turnkey. And I don't think, like, if I was gonna recommend a like fully built computer that's considered secondhand to somebody, I would go to Jawa. I wouldn't go to eBay. I wouldn't go to Facebook Marketplace, because dealing with shipping with Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp and stuff, I'm just not a fan of. But I would say Jawa is the place with like the most selection and variety of builds from people in the community. Yeah, this is a good point too. Jawa is specifically focused for PCs, even though they do have like console categories and stuff now, as well as like other gaming related merch. But it is PC focused on hardware and pre-built, and they do vet their users, right? So you have to like apply for it, and I think they still do like the sit down call interview thing with each of the people that they vet. So there's a little bit more of a vetting process there than with the other platforms. Doback Slaps with the 5 Neuro Budget gifted memberships. What up, Doback Slaps? You're making it in at the like the tail end of the stream. I gotta actually end soon. I gotta have dinner and then I gotta play with the girls. I don't know if they're awake or asleep right now, but I don't hear any crying, so. Jawa is probably as good as it gets if you want a pre-built PC where they didn't cut every possible corner for important. Yeah, exactly. Well, the good thing about Jawa too is, compared to a lot of the other system integrators, people who build PCs on Jawas, they will typically list the specific models of every component that they use in the build. So they will give you the motherboard model, they will give you the power supply model, the SSD, the RAM. So like they're not just using generic like descriptors for those. You will know for the most part exactly what model of make and model of every component in a build. So yeah, you'll know that, like, from seeing that, you will know if the person is cutting corners or not. And I think typically most of the vetted sellers on Jawa, like they don't choose like super crap quality PSUs and motherboards and things like that. So And they do have GPU and CPU trade-in. I guess, does eBay have that? Does that make them stand out? So Newegg does it. Okay. I thought eBay did trade-in, but maybe not. Oh my gosh. Doback slaps again. Doback. Thank you. But at the end of stream, I feel so bad. I gotta go soon. Does Melissa let the girls watch your stream and help you get the girls to sleep? Bam. Oh, just kidding. So we're trying to limit screen time for the girls. Like when we're feeding or playing with them, we try to not let them watch the TV if we're watching TV, or we just completely shut it off. But we are okay with, I think, them watching any of the content that we've made. Like sometimes we put on our vlog stuff that, like when we've traveled to international countries. And I jokingly said, we should put my stream on in the background so that they recognize my voice. So they can form more of a connection with me because, you know, babies typically has less of a connection with their father due to not being in their womb, or not being inside of them for 9 months. So yeah, that's a joke that we say. But no, I think she's turned on the stream for them previously before. I don't know if she has it on right now. Probably not, but yeah. But yeah, Doback. Yeah, oh, so many people has just gotten membership. You've been slapped. Doback. Thank you. Doback, did you even say anything? Or are you just dropping these are you just dropping these gifted memberships without even saying anything in chat? Where are you at? Yeah, it is best that they don't watch the screen, but in terms of listening to the audio and me talking and be familiarizing themselves and being more comfortable with my voice, that's what I say when I mean watching. We don't literally let them watch the screen because we've noticed they like to watch the TV if they like catch a glimpse of it. Like if it's on and sometimes we have them laying in a certain position, they will like literally crank their neck and just like straight up watch the TV, and we're trying to avoid that as much as possible. Did we just become best friends? Exactly. I thought I looked out getting a sub in the first 5, then he drops 20 more. Lit. Thank you, Doback Slaps. Appreciate it. No, something slapped. I don't get that saying. Isn't being slapped a bad thing? Getting slapped is a bad thing, but something slapping is a good thing. So saying like this graphics card or this camera slaps. So the camera is doing the slapping, which is a good thing. But yeah, I guess getting slapped is not a good thing. Just hopped in, haven't been able to watch the last couple of weeks. All good. I appreciate your support, your ongoing support. You know, you've been a long-time supporter. You've been a super gifter for the longest time. So I appreciate your support regardless if you're able to be here live or not. Okay, I think that's it though. Let me check on. No, I don't think I have time to grab the girls. So again, Doback, thank you for the donations. And then again, Daniel, if you're still there, if not, thank you for all these onesies. I'll wash them and I'll see if I can get the girls into them and on the stream. I've never brought the girls, both of them on the stream at the same time. I've only ever had one of the twins at a time on the stream. So let's see if I could hold 2 of them for next week's stream. And then in terms of upcoming stuff though, yeah, like I told you guys, I'm focused on the LAN party video. So I'm not working on anything else except for finishing the edit. And this one, it looks like I'm going to make the pre-LAN video go live this week. It's a long video, so you guys have plenty of time to watch it to get hyped for the full LAN release next weekend. So yeah. And I think this thumbnail, I'm going to run A/B testing. I think this one will get more clicks, but we'll see. I don't know, man. People like Casey, so this one might do decently well too. But thanks for the kind words, Joe. I appreciate it. You are a senior geek, and I have a son-like quality. I try my best, but I'm glad you enjoy the content, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in this week, as you guys do every single week. You know, with everything going on, I think the streams has been one of the most consistent things that I've been able to do for like the longest time. So every single week, you know, we've been doing this for how many years now, consistently. I look forward to stream every single week, even if there's nothing fun to talk about in terms of tech news. Every time the stream starts, you guys, when you start chatting away, we always come up with things to do and fill the stream time. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with the girls, grab some dinner, and look forward to the pre-land video this Friday, and then the following week the full land video. But you guys take care. Have a great rest of your night or day. Have a great rest of your week, and have a great weekend coming up. And I will see you in the comments of the pre-land vid or in next week's stream, same time, same day as always. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.